During negotiations last week, some Russian aides hinted that if Putin becomes more frustrated over the situation with NATO, he could shift nuclear weapons to places within range of the U.S., like Venezuela or Cuba. It sparks reminders of the Cuban Missile Crisis, which happened 60 years ago this coming October. Joining us now to discuss is retired Brigadier General Peter Zwack, former U.S. defense attaché to Russia. Peter, thanks so much for joining us. It's almost 60 years after the Cuban Missile Crisis, and now the U.S. is facing a similar threat from Russia again. What sort of factors lead to an escalation of this level?
Good morning for having me. This is a very, probably the most serious geostrategic situation we, the West, Russia, have been in, certainly since the end of the Cold War and the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991, and going back to the Cuban Missile Crisis. It doesn't have to go this way. A major difference is to the Cuban Missile Crisis is that the missiles are already there. I mean, whether it's theirs or ours, around the world, we can take each other off the planet with whatever. Now, 12 hours. And if the Russians want to, demonstrate, or in my mind, it's almost petulant about, okay, we're going to put stuff into Cuba and Venezuela. All right, so be it. It's really hard to support major deployments like that half a world away from Moscow, especially if tensions. They don't need to do this, and they're already there. They have their Wagner contractors in there. They sent 2 backfire bombers to Venezuela in 2018. So it's out there, but I would not allow that to distract the core discussion, which is Ukraine, which is the principle of nations being able to have their own foreign policy and their own aspirations. And we have not invaded Ukraine into NATO. And we have not invited, good God, forgive me, we've not invited Ukraine into NATO. And Russia needs to understand that. And that part of the dialogue is on, but to thump and to use heavy forces on the border and to threat, as we hear reports of a provocation to create a justification for aggression, which is what autocratic authoritarian nations do to try to get justification, is wrong. We have to hold our ground, continue to try to talk Russia off the ledge, support Ukraine with all the support that we can, short of U.S. boots on the ground or NATO boots on the ground, and get ourselves out of this, because in the long term, we and Russia need to be working on big problems of the future beyond this, but we got to get past this first.